Well, I got a bleeding heart. It's the one that don't heal.
The thing about a memory, it plays tricks on you. When you're growing up, everything, everyone just towers over you. I look back on the past, on me, on my family and friends, and I can't parse reality from my perception of it. In my mind, I'll always be the little kid. My father, this mountain of a man who fascinated and intimidated me. My friends were always too cool for me to be their equal. I always saw myself as smaller, weaker, and less confident than them. And I wonder, how much of it is me? Is it the truth? Or a misinterpreted recollection existing only in my own head? Am I the kid stuck in perpetual adolescence? Will I ever grow out of it?
DVille was in a lot of ways our most complicated film. From a script perspective, it was by far the most personal thing I'd written. Even though Last Beautiful Girl, which we would do later, or Littlefield, which we did before, all dealt with that same very tumultuous high school relationship, there was a lot of details changed. This one really reflected where I was at that particular moment in my life, where I had kind of decided that the best thing for my life was to essentially say goodbye to the past, goodbye to the family I grew up with, and then kind of go forward. And the movie takes place in a sort of alternative reality of how those decisions might have worked out and were those decisions right or not. And we try to take a very different, a little bit more honest approach than that kind of film. Generally, you go back to the small town and you realize everything you've missed. We realize that that's a lot more complicated. It's a lot more nuanced than just that. So we tried to approach it that way. The production side was also very difficult. You know, we knew we wanted to shoot in a very specific part of Texas, in that kind of southwest going out toward Uvalde range. And it's a very pretty, it's a very wide, and it is a very, I think, just a very interesting landscape to see that you don't see in film a lot. And we kind of knew that we wanted to shoot the movie with some scope, which meant shooting very wide shots, shooting a lot of even wider shots than we would normally shoot. And one of the things that meant was sound. You know, we are a small crew. We don't have a lot of money. So the idea of having a mixer on set with lavs to make sure that we were getting everything, we knew that just wasn't going to happen. And one of the things that we'd learned, and one of the reasons I think like Three References was more successful than the films that came before it, was because Three References, we used quite a bit of ADR, automated dialogue replacement for our newbies, where we re-recorded all of the dialogue. We'd use more of that than we'd use in any other film. And I think with an independent film in particular, because it is oftentimes you're doing jobs you're not trained for. I'm not a trained sound mixer. I'm not a trained sound designer. I'm not trained in any of that stuff. So I was learning on the fly. And I feel like as long as your movie sounds like what your movie should sound like at the beginning, the audience will go with you and forgive a lot of things. The minute you get into a mixed situation where it's 50-50 ADR, 50-50 production, I always felt like you'd lose the audience. And so much to, I think, the chagrin of Chris Koppel and particularly lead actor Derek Babb, I came to the conclusion that we were going to just go in being open to the fact that we were going to ADR the whole flick. What does that mean? Well, in the front end, it makes it a lot easier. Now we just need to make sure we get some kind of sound that we can ADR off of. It means we're going a little bit faster. And when you're shooting in Southwest Texas in June and July, speed is of the essence. But it does mean that through the ADR portion, we are going to have a lot more work ahead of us. And again, the hard work is one thing. But when you come out the other end, if you've done your job right and you've gotten good ADR, and now we had actors that were good at it, you now can adjust and edit and really personalize each level of the soundtrack and not have to put up with, oh, this take is really good, but oh, I think we hear a plane in the background. Now that plane doesn't matter. We can just have the good take. And so I do think it's why DVille went on to be, or one of the reasons DVille went on to be by far our most successful festival film, with over 100 screenings, not online festivals, actual film festivals where people sat in rooms and watched the movie.
I was the re-recording mixer, and one of the coolest things about it was that, especially with indie films that are personal stories with characters that are just kind of talking to each other a lot of the time. There's no big action scenes or whatever. It was a neat opportunity because the entirety of the film was recorded in ADR, where we dubbed the voices after the fact. And I remember Jim worked like trying to get all of that stuff organized for me, because there were just so many. Every single sound that you heard was recorded in post and reconstructed later, and then I remember we worked on the mix. It was sent to me in Toronto, and I did a bunch of work here, and then I ended up going to Austin, and we ended up working together for about a week, I think, tweaking it and getting Jim's feedback and kind of understanding how he wanted it to sound, me discussing how I thought we could make that happen, and giving ideas along the way, and the result is something that I'm super proud of, because it's not every day that you get to, when you're doing a sound mix, have control over the idiosyncrasies of every single aspect of the soundtrack, which we did because of the fact that everything was recorded in post.
Not a bell.
Nancy, we carpooled.
Nope, sorry. Yeah, so sorry.
You were the first girl I ever felt up. Nancy, you were the second.
More specific?
Nancy, we carpool together.
Nope, sorry. So sorry.
You're the first girl I ever felt up.
Nancy, you were the second.
There's a couple of other reasons, obviously, that made the movie successful. The acting was amazing. It was really great to see Derek Babb, I think, get to put his teeth into a movie and get to create something real, and he really did a great job.
And I was going through some of the memories, and I could tell a story about how we thought our Airbnb was haunted, and then Emily was in the claw tub and one of the claws broke and it scared the crap out of everybody. Or I could tell a story about how staying the night at the Krings was amazing. Miss you guys. And I don't know, the memories that we created there, or the times spent getting to know Mike Donis, buddies, and hang out with Jim and everybody. But I think the thing that I want to talk about is just how much love went into making that film and came out of it. Never been on a set that was like that, and I've never had an experience like that on any set since. And just everybody was a family, cast, crew, whatever. And it was a life-changing experience, and it was incredible, and it's something that I'm grateful for in my acting just experience. Something that I don't know that I'll ever replicate. I don't know that it's possible, because it was just a special group and a special time, and it was amazing.
Disassociationville has some of my most fond memories working on a Twitchy film. I remember it was the first time that Jim wanted to cast me in a bigger role. My character had multiple scenes, and it was a bit of quite a more somber and serious kind of a performance that was needed, and I hadn't done anything like that yet as an actor. So I was really honored that he wanted me to play the part, but I was also a little intimidated. And then on top of the intimidation of playing that kind of a character, and wondering whether I could pull it off, I was also really wondering whether, as a Canadian, I could pull off playing a small town Texas guy. I was worried about getting the voice right or the mannerisms or anything, and I honestly didn't know what I didn't know, and so I wasn't sure whether it would come across honestly and realistically, or whether it would look like I was putting something on. And so when we ended up actually shooting, there was a scene that we were shooting, and it was me and Derek, and we were sitting on the bleachers, and there were a couple of people, locals in Sabinal, who kind of came by to watch what we were shooting, and there was one bit where someone said something, or I can't remember exactly how it went down, but they had apparently assumed that I was actually from there, and that sort of gave me the confidence to do the rest of the movie, and it let me call my agent, and I was like, oh hey, I can play a Texas guy.
Really jaded. Never knew what we were trying to find. I never knew this town shines so bright, till I came home tonight. So put on your black, it's the same routine. It ain't gathered a damn bit of dust since you were 17.
So you still ride?
Oh man, I'm too beat up for that now.
So the Cowboys are visiting in September. I know a dude who's friends with the guy whose sister did a guy with tickets. Are you in?
I'm in.
Great to see you, man.
I never knew the darker side.
We also were acting across generations. We had at one point, Derek Babb's character appears in 3 different ages. And so that was neat to pull off, and something that is insane for most no budget film companies, I mean. But at this point, it felt like we were flexing some muscles. I think we were able to do it. It was great to see Mark Wasserman in the movie, because Mark had always kind of been silly on screen, particularly for us. Like, he kind of likes to do that stuff, and that's great. But it was great to see him act.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm just looking for... What are you doing here?
You think you got it all figured out, don't you?
What are you doing here?
Son, there are things I don't have to explain to you.
Just tell me what you're doing.
I live here! Son, please.
Stop calling me son, okay? Stop it.
But listen, you
Stop! Because I'm not.
This has nothing to do with you.
This has everything to do with me. All those times you were working, all those times you weren't there, you were doing this.
You're right. I'm a son of a bitch.
No! You don't get to do that this time. You don't get to pretend to be sorry for how you've acted and think that that's enough for this to just go away. So essentially, I didn't have a dad. Tom didn't have a dad. And Mom didn't have a husband because you were banging anything that could move. I get it. I should move on. I tried to move on. But somewhere I realized I didn't know how to do it. So I want you to listen to me. I don't give a shit. Whatever excuse you may have, whatever half-ass apology you want to make, whatever you might think about my life, I want you to remember one thing. I don't give a shit. Let that rattle around up there. Your eldest son, the one that you wanted to be just like you, doesn't give a shit. I wondered what it would be like whenever I came back, but nothing's changed, except one thing. I used to always see you as this larger-than-life guy, bigger than reality. But look at you. You're pathetic.
Daddy?
I'm sorry. This has nothing to do
You don't understand how I feel about her. How much she means to me.
I have an idea.
What?
Like I'm gonna let you dance with another girl all alone.
She's not really a girl. I mean, we're practically related.
Come here. Just trust me. You're just gonna get up there and forget all about me.
I wish you would come with me.
I know. So tonight, what did your mom say? You never told me.
I didn't ask. I'm just going with you.
Good, because it's prom night and we've never...
Isn't that a little cliche?
I'd like to say romantic, but don't make me regret the decision.
Never.
What is it?
You are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Hi, my name is Leslie Solcher, and I was cast as one of the leads in Disassociationville. It feels like forever ago. And I just have to say that my experience filming was incredible. It was my first time doing something like that, and the Twitchy team was always fantastic and a lot of fun to work with, but still maintained an air of professionalism. And I got to see a lot of the behind the scenes action of how a film is made. They didn't obscure any of that, and I was definitely on the front lines with helping with marketing and bringing awareness about the film. So there was a sense that, you know, it was just as much my project as it was everybody else's. And that's how you get to have such a great sense of family on the set. And everyone is great to work with, and just really an awesome cast and an awesome director. And I'm always blown away by the just passion that Jim brings to all of the projects that he works on, and the people that he pulls in and inspires.
I think the other thing that we have to really recognize is the work of Billy and Elizabeth Kring and the town of Sabinal. We had to make it look like a small Texas town. It couldn't look like we rolled into town, shot a bunch of exterior shots, and then everything was shot in my house. It couldn't feel that way. We had to have scope. And the town of Sabinal, from putting out crew calls for us, providing food for us, the police department, you know, all three of them, shutting down streets for us, it gave us a level of production value and scale that, you know, I don't think we could have pulled off any other way without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. So a heartfelt thank you to Billy, Elizabeth, and the rest of Sabinal.
I'm Emily Joseph, and my first feature film ever was my first film with Twitchy Dolphin Flicks. I was a 20-year-old college student and just so hungry for any kind of film work. And I got so lucky by answering the ad that they placed online for crew. It really was meant to be, because they welcomed me with open arms and put a camera in my hands and believed in me from the first day, even though I had no experience. Disassociationville was an amazing film to start with. As far as a film career goes, it was a true Texas indie film, as were all Twitchy films, but this one was really special because we shot it in Sabinal, Texas, which is very deep in Texas, and we had so many amazing shots that came out of that film and amazing people we met, amazing locations to shoot in, because it was so small town Texas, as was the story, and it was such a great experience, so full of so many people that I went on to shoot many films with, and really was just an amazing way to start my career with Twitchy.
I think it is probably the one that holds up the best in all facets of everything that goes into making independent film. I still feel very connected to the story. I think the acting is great. And I do think that the production values and the look of the film make it something that I'm going to be proud of for the rest of my career.
Don't forget me.
stirring up a sleeping appetite. When Katie spoke of crimson smoke and wings, the meadow larks in ghetto parks would sing. The melody would echo through the air. And travel through the window to her.
You still have it?
Yeah. I promised I'd keep it. Look, I'm sorry about the other day. But you can't do this to me again. Okay? Just leave. I don't deserve that.
The last thing I ever wanted to do, ever, was hurt you. I don't know what to say, except
I know. I know.
Hurry back,
Wait for me?
no matter how long it takes.